Welcome to a brand new series that I want to start up for this channel that I want to call From Dust to Buff. So basically what I mean by that is there are so many things in this game that are just collecting dust because they're just so obsolete at this point and they just are not relevant for the current meta and they've just been nerfed to oblivion. So what I want to do is I want to bring back a few things that have kind of just fallen by the wayside and just make them really good, and so that they can kind of be on par with the things of today while not overpowering them. You know what I mean? So let's get started and let's kind of get to that point. So I wanted to cover 5 different things a week. So let me know how that goes for you guys. Do you guys like this concept? Do you guys not like it? I'd love all kinds of feedback in the comments. Please let me know. These are my opinions on how I buff things. So if you agree with me, cool. If you don't agree with me, that's completely fine. Let me know what you would do with these things. So the first thing that I wanted to bring up was 7th Legion. 7th Legion is one of those sets that we haven't seen in a long time because it's just not good anymore. The buffs that you get from it just aren't good anymore. It kind of reminds me of an old school rallying cry, more or less. So this was really good back in the day, like years ago, like 2016, 2017, 2018. 7th Legion was phenomenal. So basically what it does is the 5-piece, when you cast an ability that grants major or minor resolve, which is pretty cool while in combat, you gain 309 weapon and spell damage and 309 health recovery for 15 seconds. Health recovery used to be really good, but it got gutted really hard in like 21, I believe it was, either 21 or 22. I don't remember the exact years. Time eludes me. So at this point, since it's only giving weapon and spell damage because health recovery is kind of useless nowadays, I feel like the best way to change this around is change the 3-piece on health recovery. It's not needed anymore to just something like either another line of weapon spell damage, another line of crit chance, whatever. And then also change the health recovery on the 5-piece to something like crit resist. Because what you can do is then you could have a heavy back bar set that applies crit resistance as well, instead of something like Rallying Cry, and then that adds more options to the game. So if you do this, it's basically the same thing as Rallying Cry, where you're getting weapon and spell damage, and on top of that, you're also getting crit resist. I'm not saying you get the same amount of crit resist as something like Rallying Cry, because that is very conditional for your group and how many people you have in there, and it's also conditional upon things like battle spirit and things like that. So for this, I would just say you get a healthy amount. You don't need anything too crazy, but you just don't need anything that's like on the same level as Rallying Cry. But I think it would be very helpful to the game. It would add a little bit of variety back into the game, and something like this can be really beneficial because then you can add more sets. You can be like, okay, what about, because right now, virtually, let's be honest with ourselves, the back bar sets that you could use in this game for PvP, more or less, are Rallying Cry and Wretched Vitality. I'm sorry, I can't really think of a third. I just can't. I think that those are the only two. So adding 7 Legions to the mix adds another one. And if you slowly add more into the game over time, the game becomes a lot more, fun. It becomes a lot more different. And you're able to kind of keep things rolling and keep things different. So I don't know. I think that it would be good to add something like that to the game. I would enjoy that personally. I would love to run 7th Legion again, but it's just not really that great right now. So that's really my first thing. The second thing that I'm going to bring up is Harmony. So Harmony is an old school set that I'm going to try and bring up some stuff on here. I should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. But Harmony is an old school jewelry trait that used to be around for a while, but is not around anymore. So we bring this up right here. We bring up something like this. So Harmony right here. Awesome. What it used to be able to do is activating a synergy restores 880 health, magic, and stamina. Right? Now, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's what it does now. What it used to do, so like if you look at anything that I have that's like Harmony, if I even have anything that's really Harmony left, because like I think I mostly deconned or destroyed it all because I don't think I have anything left because Harmony's just not good anymore. It used to be increases your overall synergy damage and the resources you gain from synergies, which made it really cool on things like, wow, I don't have, oh, there you go. Harmony. Activating a synergy restores 880 health, magic, and stamina. That's nothing. That's a useless thing that just makes no sense. It's not, it doesn't add anything new to the game. It doesn't add anything interesting to the game. It's just, okay, you get some resource management. Okay, cool. For those of you guys that are newer to the game, Harmony used to be able to buff your synergy damage, and it buffed your synergy healing as well. It used to be amazing. I want to see if if I could find something like that, because like, dude, that'd be so cool to do. Can I get this? Like, oh my goodness, like I don't know where it would be, but anyways, I can't find it. So I think that you need to bring Old Harmony back, because what it would do is it would open up a lot more of a playstyle to the game, and I kind of miss it personally. I like that kind of playstyle where it's high burst damage, especially in today's meta. If you add more burst damage to the mix, I'm not saying that you're going to increase that damage significantly, because I think that what they should have done with Harmony is they should have just lowered the percentages of damage done, right? Instead of just completely changing it and making it an irrelevant thing. So personally, I'm of the belief that you bring back Harmony and you bring it back in a way that's kind of like, all right, it's good again. It's not going to be top of the line that you need to run on everything, but especially nowadays with hybridization and a lot of people running certain things, I think that that would add a lot more versatility and a lot more build diversity into the mix. So that's my personal opinion on me bringing back Harmony. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be awesome. And then something else that I want to bring over is, as well as this, is where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Rapid maneuvers. I'm going to move my I'm going to move my webcam because my webcam's in the way. Hi guys. Rapid maneuvers. Let's be honest. Kind of a useless skill in the year of our Lord 2025. Like, it's just not good anymore. So it's just one of those things that's just sitting there. There's no reason to run it. Things like Resolving Vigor, amazing on almost every single build, especially in PvP. Caltrops, I don't use them personally, but I understand the use for them. Magic Detonation for Proxy Det, I understand the use for that. There's a use for all three of those things, right? But for Rapids, there's no use for this right now. There's no need for this. Major Expedition for 8 seconds on a 6,000 cost stamina? No, that's not needed. So in my opinion, you work around this thing entirely. You make it a much longer duration and you change around the buffs. Maybe you get a bunch of minor buffs and stuff. I'm not saying you need to get like major berserk and major force and stuff like that, but I do think that you need to add a few buffs to this to make it worth your while. You want to activate this ability in combat. You want to be able to maybe share this with your teammates or something like that. So maybe a bunch of minor buffs, like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. There could be more stuff like, I don't know, maybe if you activate this for 20 to 30 seconds, I would say 30 seconds because you don't want to activate this all the time. It's expensive. Something like minor berserk, minor force, minor, I don't know, whatever. You guys know what I mean. But if you get multiple minor build, it adds up over time and it's not OP enough to make it so that it's a major buff change. You don't want something like major berserk on something like this because that could get out of hand very quickly. Major force, that would get out of hand really quickly, all that stuff. I definitely think that this is worthy of a change. It needs a change. It needs something to happen right now because it is just sitting there. I can't remember the last time I've seen Rapids in here. And it's just another one of those things that it just hasn't been around for a long time, you know? So I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that needs to change. And the next thing I wanted to bring up was the Nirnhoned trait on body pieces. There's no point in it, personally. Because what Nirnhoned does is increases your physical and spell resistance by 5, basically, more or less. But on the same hand, increase your physical and spell resistance as Nirnhoned. You also have Reinforced, which increases items' armor value, which is another way of fancily saying increases resistance. So it's the same thing, it's just different wording on there. So one of the cool things about all of these different traits and stuff on here is that they do different things, even though I think invigorating is invigorating. We'll see you on a future video. You are not here right now. But every single thing provides something different, right? So it's cool. But that being said, these two are kind of redundant because they do the same thing. So my personal change that I would make with Nirnhoned is maybe it just increases your overall weapon or spell damage, something like that. Maybe increases your overall critical percentage, something like that, something along the lines of that. I can't say exactly what I would do with it because I don't know exactly what I would do with it, but off the top of my head, just spitballing, I think that if you change this around, you just take away that it does physical and spell resistance. I think that that's kind of, it's redundant. Like I said, you don't need this. So if you do something along the lines of, hey, this increases your weapon spell damage by maybe 3%. You don't need too much, maybe 5% maximum. You don't need anything that's too crazy, but you also want something that's kind of like, okay, this is worth running on my build. There's a risk reward for this because I don't have something like impen on anymore. I don't have something like well fitted. I don't have any of these other things. I mean, obviously you can run like certain traits for each one, but I think that'd be worth that. I think if you increase your damage, I think that's a good thing. And I think that's something that will be, or if you're not increasing your damage done, increase your healing done, just stuff like that. I think that that is worth it. And I think it does need to change right now. I just don't see the point of keeping this around. It's just another thing in the game that's just sitting there and hasn't had anything done to it in years, and it's just kind of been forgotten about. So I think this is the one thing that I think needs to change. That way we can add a little bit more build diversity to the game as well. So that's my personal opinion, right? And then the last thing that I wanted to go over for today's first inaugural video is some of the Mage's Guild skill lines. I think that there are some things in the Mage's Guild skill line that kind of, they were good. They were good for a while, but power creep in this game has kind of gotten to a point where they're kind of obsolete at this point. So I'm going to bring up both Mage Light and Entropy for this example. I think that Fire Rune is okay. I wouldn't change it right now. I think it's fine. It's very niche. I wouldn't really run on anything, but it's fine. I don't say change it right now. Equilibrium, again, I wouldn't change right now. I would change Mage Light and I would change Entropy. Because Mage Light, what it does is, the big thing about it is that it gives you major savagery and prophecy. That's like the big draw to it. But in recent years, in recent updates, ZOS has added major prophecy and savagery to a lot of different skills on all of the class skill lines. And they also added it so that it's for both bars. Right now, Mage Light is for one bar, right? I think it's just for whatever bar this is activated on. So it's very obsolete in that manner. So you don't really need it because of that. And then on top of that, it's just, why would you run this over this, like something that's going to expose enemies from invisibility? Why would you run that over any other ability in the game that's also giving you major prophecy and savagery? Bound Armaments, now it gives you major prophecy and savagery. Phenomenal source of damage. Like I'm telling you guys, for anybody that's still sleeping on Bound Armaments, this is one of the best skills in the game, I'm telling you. Why would I run Mage Light over this? I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. Anything else on here? I mean, let's just use examples. I mean, Shock and Siphon also does it, right? I think, yeah, Shock and Siphon does that. But so maybe run it over that. That's not really that great of a skill. But we're also competing with skills from other tree lines, like Flames of Oblivion from Ardent Flame in Dragonite passives, from something like Grim Focus / Merciless Resolve from the Nightblade skill lines, from the Assassination one. Those are both giving major prophecy savagery. Why would you run Mage Light over those? You wouldn't. So I think change it, make it more appealing. And if you make it more appealing, then more people will want to try and run it, and there's more diversity in the game. That's my personal opinion, at least. And then same thing with the Entropy. The one morph gives you weapon and spell damage. Like, it gives you major brutality sorcery, which is good. But again, same thing, that every single class now has a source of major brutality sorcery, especially something like, right now I'm on my Sork build, and I get major brutality sorcery from Crit Surge, which is one of the best sources of it in the game. So why would I run Entropy over that? I wouldn't. It's a decent dot. It's not the best dot, but it's a dot. When meanwhile you have other dots in the game that apply things like, say for something like Rending, each hit in the initial attack that are afflicted with the hemorrhaging status effect. I know for a fact on a dot like Burning Embers is also going to heal you every second, and it's also going to apply the burning status effect, stuff like that. And so just like, I'm just thinking of dots like that. And so for that, it's like Entropy, it's like, okay, I know it's not morphed. I understand that it's not morphed, but still, it's just one of those things that it just feels incredibly underwhelming. So if you add just a few little quality of life buffs to Entropy, a few quality of life buffs to Mage Light, you could re-enter them back into the meta, and you can make it so that there are more things that are good in this game. That way it's not just the same old little bit here and there. And that's really the goal of this entire series, is to just kind of like shine a light on things that I feel like have been forgotten about, and things that I feel like can be buffed and brought back up to the level where everything else is. So that's my personal opinion. Do you guys like the concept of this video, of this series? I would love to know. I'd love to have all kinds of reactions in the comments. So please, if you're at this point in the video still, hit that like button for me. If you haven't, I'd highly appreciate you subscribing. But, you know, if you don't, that's completely fine by me. And please let me know if this is the kind of video you'd want to see in the future. I'd love to make this a weekly thing, but that all depends on you guys. I hope that this video does well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I enjoy it. I can't stress enough having you guys here. Like, it means the world to me. And I will see you guys on the next video. Later.